Opponents are now hitting 42% of their three-pointers against the Cavs in the last 15 games. During that stretch, they have the 17th rated defense during that time period. So this team's defense has been really good prior to that, and a lot of that's just, I don't want to say effort, it's attention to detail, I guess, is a better way to put it. They got to get back to that, and now.
Yeah, and that's when you're talking about 2 games over 500 over the last 40 games, that's where it boils down to, because if you're playing good defense, you can make those mistakes on offense. You can have not great spacing on offense. You can not score as much as you normally would on offense, but your defense, if those things aren't clicking, your defense is what's going to carry you. And they knew that. They saw that earlier in the season, the Cavs. So, it is important to get back to that again, because you're thinking about the big picture. You want to think about the playoffs, and that's where the game slows down, can come to a grind. That's where truly, your defense is what's going to carry you a lot of times, and your defense could help lead to upsets in the playoffs as well. So, that's a critical part. And like you said, Dave, you really hit the nail on the head. It's attention to detail, and just being focused. And it's easy to do. Historically, throughout the NBA in January, it seems like people are just waiting to get to that All-Star break before they turn it back on. January is always a tough month for teams with, primarily a young core. So they've just got to get through that, pick it back up. And, if their defense is clicking, then we're not going to hear about any more of this 500 basketball.
Yeah, and again, they kind of had the reputation early of teams were getting to be like, we got to go and deal with Cleveland, and that is a team that is just going to be all over. And they got to get back to that, where teams don't want to face their defense, because that's an advantage.
Yeah, it has a huge psychological advantage, especially when they're playing home games and have the crowd behind them. But, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, those guys, you don't really need to question their defense very often. Sometimes out on the perimeter, it just seems like they struggle from time to time. What you want to do is funnel your guy into the big guys sometimes, and instead of letting them just stand out there and take 3-pointers. And they know all this. They've been through all this and have watched the film of what not to do and what to do. And it's really, I think the effort's there most of the time. I don't want to question their effort, but like I said, sometimes it's just being totally locked in mentally, which can be a problem sometimes. But again, when they are locked in, you're right. The opponents don't want to see this team and this defense, but they've got to get back to that, because right now it's not been consistent.